Possible sign of a pullout of Russian troops from the Ukrainian border. Russia releasing new video of tanks and armored vehicles being loaded onto railway cars. We've learned that Russian defense military are reporting that some troops are returning to their bases, having completed drills. Now, that's out of the 130,000 soldiers to be believed to be conducting military maneuvers there along the Russia-Ukraine border. It's unclear how many troops are pulling back and whether the threat of what the U.S. has described as an imminent invasion is over. It's still too early to know if the United States will change its messaging following this news after temporarily shutting down the U.S. embassy in Kiev. Still sending American military forces to surrounding countries as well. More troops from Fort Bragg are being deployed to Poland to reassure NATO allies. White House correspondent Allison Harris is following all these late-breaking developments and joins us live. Allison.
Yeah, Adrian, this is new overnight that Russia's pulling back some of its troops from the Ukrainian border. But as you mentioned, we don't know exactly where those troops are being pulled back from or how many troops are being pulled back. It could be a sign that Russia is leaning into diplomacy and deterrence here, but the U.S. and NATO allies are not going to take Putin at his word on any of this, proceeding with caution as this threat of an invasion still looms. This morning, a last-ditch effort at diplomacy. The German chancellor meeting face-to-face with President Putin. Russia had been moving into attack position, the Pentagon saying Putin keeps adding to his menu of options with more land, sea, and air capabilities, with 130,000 troops staged along the Ukrainian border.
It is a distinct possibility, perhaps more real than ever before, that Russia may decide to proceed with military action.
But there are signs this morning Russia might start pulling back some troops, with Putin perhaps listening to the advice of his foreign minister to take the diplomatic path. Meanwhile, 3,000 more U.S. troops are now deploying to Poland, as U.S. officials warn an invasion could begin at any time, causing widespread human suffering in Eastern Europe. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin traveling to the region today to meet with allied defense ministers as the U.S. moves all diplomats out of Kyiv, closing the embassy. Biden administration officials have been warning Russia could execute a false flag operation to justify an attack on Ukraine, making up a scenario in which Ukraine is the aggressor. Senators saying this after being briefed by the National Security Advisor on Capitol Hill yesterday.
The idea that there could be some phony pretext created by the Russians, that would be a false flag operation. If there's violence in Ukraine, it's going to be caused by Russia.
Ukrainian President Zelensky has been downplaying the threat of an invasion, joking yesterday that an invasion could happen tomorrow. U.S. intelligence reports has been saying that this invasion could come as early as this week. Again, that news overnight that Russia is pulling back troops. But again, Adrian, proceed with caution. We don't know exactly where these troops are being pulled back from or how many troops Russia says it is pulling back.
Yes, early reporting, but thank you for jumping right on this, Allison. We'll continue to check in with you.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.